Hi there, Scorpios. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Astrogirl, and we're looking at February 29 through March 6. And it's weird even saying that February 29 because it only happens once every 4 years. This year is a leap year. And traditionally, one day out of every 4 years, women are allowed to propose to men on February 29. It's a very old-fashioned custom, and they made a movie about it. And I think it's quite interesting that women were allowed to do that, and the men had to. It was like a real thing, fair dinkum, that men had to that men were proposed to. And I can't imagine how it would all happen, but I think it'd be very funny. Now, although today the concept of a woman asking a man to marry her would seem kind of strange and outdated, and I don't know why, because why does the man have to ask? I think that it's, absolutely fine, really. Women's live and all that. So if you have a hankering to ask your partner to marry you, you've got a day to do it. February 29, it's coming up. Get organized, get a ring, pick a nice spot for the proposal. Because actually, Mercury is moving into Pisces, your romance zone this week, joining up with the sun that's already there. And of course, there's a solar eclipse new moon in Pisces next week on the 8th. So it's a very romantic time for you, and a good time for you to express the way you feel about someone and express your love and affection and be open to all that affection coming right back to you. So these planets, Mercury, and then there's a new moon, and then Venus moves into Pisces as well, all lining up in your 5th house of romance, creativity, and self-fulfillment. One of the best houses to have such fabulous planetary activity in. So for those of you who are single, it's a really good time to mingle, for you to find someone worth finding, for you to be, more, if you haven't been online looking, this is a good time to do so. And if you are already with someone, it's a good time to solidify things and to make sure you're both moving in the right direction for the same object. Nothing worse than being in a relationship for 6 months and your other half suddenly decides that, he doesn't want to get married, or she doesn't want to have kids, or, someone doesn't want to move to where your new job's going to be, and you had thought everything was going so well. And, the test comes along and the test gets failed. So this is a good time to sit down and really talk things through, and you'll find it much easier to do so with Mercury and the sun, and especially with that solar eclipse next week in Pisces. And if you know anyone born under the sign of Pisces, they are not only the perfect match for you, but they're a great go-to person for you as well. Thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. And I'll speak to you again next week, Scorpios.